Hey, Mitch.
Oh, hey, Ed, what's up?
Hey, I thought we could do a show about a classic 80s TV talking car.
Oh, awesome. We're going to be talking about Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch.
No, the other talking car.
Oh, Speed Buggy. Yeah.
No, the other talking car.
Wonderbug?
No, the other talking car.
Oh, wait, Turbo Teens?
No, the other talking car.
Mr. Ed?
Hey, that's a talking horse. No.
I know. Herbie the Love Bug. I'm
No,
sorry.
he doesn't even talk.
Hey, Ed, I got it.
Yeah.
Why don't we do one about Knight Rider?
Yeah, all right. Hey, this is Ed Dollister.
And this is Mitch Halleck.
And welcome to another episode of Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. Before we start, a big thank you to everyone who has been watching our episodes, particularly our Superman, which has flown through the Fortress of Solitude and gone straight up, which is fantastic. So thank you very much. And a big thank you as well to everyone who has subscribed to our show. How can you subscribe, Mitch?
Simple. Hit that button that you're going to see right there and says subscribe, and you will know every time Ed and I go on another excellent adventure into the past to talk about TV, movies, toys, and more right here on the old YouTube.
That's right. And we are going back to 1982 to talk about a classic TV series. I'm decked out in I've got my polyester body shirt on. I've got my black leather jacket. Sadly, I don't have a Pontiac Trans Am anywhere nearby, but we are talking about the classic 80s series, Knight Rider.
That's right, buddy. I remember this being on NBC. This is that magic time. We've already talked about A-Team. There was a whole bunch of like super vehicle TV shows in the early 80s. You had Airwolf, you had Blue Thunder, you had Riptide, which even had a helicopter. You had
Automan.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But I think the best was really a robot, because if you think about it, KITT, which stands for Knight Industries 2000, why they didn't do the number 2000 is beyond me, because it wouldn't sound the same.
That's right.
But KITT, the talking car from the Knight Rider by Glenn A. Larson Productions, was probably the coolest of all the vehicles of the 80s TV shows.
Absolutely. And the show was produced, as you said, by Glenn A. Larson. You probably have heard that name if you have watched a lot of classic TV shows. I suppose he's best, well, I won't say best known for, but we know him. I think I know him from Battlestar Galactica as the creator of Battlestar Galactica. He also worked on a variety of shows, BJ and the Bear, which again was another vehicle-based TV show from the early 80s.
Don't forget Magnum PI.
Yes, of course. Again,
car.
Yeah. There was a bit of a
helicopter.
So, he had a bit of a theme when it came to cars, and but there was something about KITT that was sort of not just a car like those other series, because KITT really was. It was a buddy cop show, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. And I liked how KITT had that red light that reminded me of the Cylons, which I always think was connected to Battlestar Galactica, since they had the same producer. That was no accident, Ed.
No.
That whoa. I always thought it was going to make that noise,
Absolutely.
like the Cylons did.
So it was a kind of cool premise. You had Michael Knight, who actually was a policeman who got he got shot in the face. It was pretty horrendous.
Really harsh.
So
you know what it reminds me of? Remember the movie Remo Williams with Fred Ward?
Yes.
Where he's a police officer and they cause an accident, they stage an accident, and then they do plastic surgery and they give him a whole new face and a new identity. That's technically Knight Rider in a weird way, because he was born, is it Arthur Long? Something he had a different name.
Michael Long, I think it was, and then
Michael Arthur Long, because I remember Arthur because there's a connection to like King Arthur somehow, and he was a police officer just like Remo Williams, and then he gets shot in the face, which is harsh. And then he recovers because he's saved by a billionaire industrialist super inventor named Wilton Knight, who's played by another guy who had an interesting vehicle on one of his shows. That's Richard Basehart.
Are you
who was
talking
the
about his
star.
submarine?
He was the star of the submarine show Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, which was by Irwin Allen, who was the Glenn Larson of his time back in the late 60s. Yeah, he
Land
did
of the
all
Giants, Time Tunnel.
Time Tunnel.
Yep.
Yeah, all the, and Lost in Space.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's got a really good flair, that Glenn Larson does, for like comic book movies, because this is really a comic book show. And as a guy who likes comic books, I was glued to the set because you had the hero, you had the mystery behind the mask, like he's got a secret identity almost, and then they got to go find the bad guys. And there was a lot of bad guys and bad cars on Knight Rider.
There was.
You know, you're dressed like him. What's David Hasselhoff's background? I remember my sisters knew him from soap operas. He was
pretty much in a now was it I'm not going to say General Hospital or as
no, I think it was one Life to Live, maybe.
So he was pretty popular in there. He was I think just prior to that in 1979, he also was in Star Crash. This movie with Christopher Plummer, which was like a European or Italian Star Wars sort of ripoff. And I remember seeing that going, ugh. But it was, you know, cheesy fun. So that's where I first remember him from. And
I think I was going to say, I think the Hoff has credits even before that. I think in the 70s, like 75, he might have been up for another big part in a science fiction movie. I don't know if it was Logan's Run or something like that, but he was in some other sci-fi adventure movie in the mid 70s.
Well, he had the looks, the stature to play, you know, the hero. And I've got to say, he's really good. And he provides a really earnest performance as Michael Knight. And I know that he says, I've heard him say about, you know, Baywatch, you know, that was a worldwide phenomenon, but he really is grateful and really loved playing Michael Knight and thought it was quite a gift, you know, to have. And, you know, a show running for 4 seasons that's entered the cultural lexicon. I think he's certainly left his mark. He's great. I've watched rewatching a few episodes again for a bit of research, and you know he has a really endearing performance, which is great. Not to mention his body shirts and leather jackets, which he always wore in the desert. You know, it was really hot. I thought, man, at that Indian reservation, take off your jacket. It's
Indiana boiling. Jones wore it in the desert. He wore it in the jungles. I mean, the leather jacket, it's must got like, you know, ventilation in there and like a lot of ice vest type of thing. But we're forgetting a couple other people that are part of the show. Edward Mulhare, who I remember as a kid watching on the Ghost and Mrs. Muir TV show. With Hope Lang.
So did I. With Hope Lang, I used to love that show.
Charles Nelson Riley was on it, and they had the little dog. Oh my God, that was one of my favorite shows as a kid.
Yeah, it was. That was late 60s. I remember seeing it in reruns. And I really enjoyed that show. He was almost a little bit Rex Harrison.
Oh yeah, and who was in the movie version. Yeah.
So Devon was in charge of f.l.a.g, which is the Foundation of Law and Government, which I always like.
I like how they forgot the other A though. I'm like, wait a minute, shouldn't it be f.l.a.g? Because it's a foundation and something.
Well, you know, you just you skip over.
I think when you read it out, it's like, wait, that's not doesn't. Well, what it's close enough, but yeah, he was the genius scientist behind the whole KITT car. Now, KITT stands for, like I said, Knight Industries 2000.
Yep.
Yeah, but that car had a bunch of things that going on. It had the turbo boost, which reminded me of Airwolf. That also had the press the button. Suddenly you do one of those, your head jerks back, just like Battlestar Galactica when they would shoot out of the Galactica launch bay.
Yeah,
it was bulletproof and indestructible. That car was.
It had this myo, I can't even think of the term, but this laminated surface would basically make it impervious to anything. It had smoke screens. It had air dams. I know in the latest seasons, it became a convertible where it would come off. They could do that. That turbo boost was pretty fantastic.
That sucker could fly if it had to.
Yes. And that dashboard was pretty amazing. I would love a car like that, though. I do always laugh when I do watch the episode. You watch Michael Knight driving. Actually, it's like that in a lot of, apart from Starsky and Hutch, which I've been watching a lot of, where that you feel like they're actually driving. He's going like this. You know, he's driving.
Yeah.
They don't use you know, rear
A green
projection or
screen.
anything, which is
Yeah,
good.
no, they just drive
They're being-
along. They have the car hooked onto a trailer, and he would just, you know, pretend
which
to
is
drive.
good, but he's going like this. I'm thinking, oh man, you're gonna hit
Shouldn't
something.
the car be doing one of these? Yeah.
I reckon it's probably KITT is just humoring him, and it's all on cruise control, because he had a number of cruise controls where he could drive freehand, then KITT would still take a bit of control, and then it was fully automated when KITT would be able to do amazing things.
I was going to say, there's sometimes when he's very nonchalant and just kind of sitting sideways with his arm up on the chair and KITT's driving the car. I'm like, God, I hope that somebody's driving that car. But we keep talking about KITT, but we haven't mentioned who he was.
Yes.
The voice of KITT is actor William Daniels, who just celebrated, I think, his 93rd birthday a couple weeks ago. He lives over here in Massachusetts, not up the road from me, but in the next state over. And he had a big career going all the way back to the 60s. He played a superhero called Captain Nice, which ran against another superhero TV show called Batman. And I don't think people watched Captain Nice too much, but he went on to have other shows. His big success, was, of course, was with St. Elsewhere, where he was the lead for that for years. And then he was on another show really popular called Boy Meets World.
Yes.
Where he played the principal, the teacher fellow in that show. That went on for years too. So he had a long career, but it was his voice that everyone instantaneously knows when they hear. They go, oh, that's KITT.
I hate to be the one to break this to you, but automobiles are not human. They have no lineage or personality.
I wonder why I keep forgetting that.
Yes.
Right there.
And
so
he was actually doing... Sorry?
I said he's not on set. That's added later on. And the funnier thing is, one of the jokes is David Hasselhoff says is the crew would come up to the car and people would come by and go, hey, make it talk. I want to hear it talk. And he's like, that's added later on in post-production. There's nobody here. You know, it's just a car, you know.
Well, he was actually recording the voice while he was doing St. Elsewhere. It was the same network, and he was asked not to, he said, oh, don't credit me as the voice. But he's happy to do it, and he would record it often on set in St. Elsewhere. It'd take about an hour and a half, just to record. And he's got a real personality. I wonder if he's obviously got an American accent, but he's got a I'd say not a British American accent, but he's quite
refined,
refined, yes. So it reminds me
aristocratic type of sound,
a little bit like Higgins in Magnum PI,
or Major Charles Emerson Winchester III,
yes,
over on
from Boston or wherever it is. So so it sort of reminds. So that again adds a little bit of an air of gravitas to the character, but he never was like he never talked down to Michael.
No, not at all. I always thought of him as like HAL 9000. I don't know if they were going for that, because with the red light and
then you know, Night demeanor. 2000. You know, I think HAL 9000. I think you're probably onto something there.
Yeah, I always got that creepy feeling like any minute he's going to roll the windows up and suddenly have the carbon monoxide in and kill Michael Knight. I'm sorry to do this, Michael.
But you're becoming more popular than me, Michael.
I didn't mean to kill you, Michael. So you know, that was one of the things too. But hey, you got a talking car. What can you possibly do? But you got to have the evil twin. Now we know Michael Knight had his evil twin.
Yes,
who was
he had Garth Knight.
Who was played by who?
Hasselhoff. No.
Yeah, right.
So David Hasselhoff, basically, you know, playing a duo role. He appeared twice. He was the son of Wilton Knight. He had pretty much this, and this was a very bad.
Yeah.
It was very
whenever you see that goatee thing going on, you got your evil Mr. Spock, you got your evil Michael Knight enemy, you know.
Now you know what actually has happened to the real Ed Dollister. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, he's long gone. He's trapped in a parallel world.
That's C3. There he is. So he turns up, and people are going, well, hang on, if he's the son of Wilton Knight, he's not related to Michael Knight. How come
no, but why does he look?
Because Wilton Knight had him have plastic surgery to look like his son. As a result, Garth is, jealous. He's jealous and wants revenge. And
Of course he
it's pretty
does.
funny. It's pretty funny.
And then KITT had his evil twin,
Yes,
which was called
K.a.r.r.
k.a.r.r, which stood for is it night something roving robot? I
I
can't
think
think of it.
automated roving robot.
Night automated roving robot, which I'm like, okay. But that was voiced by Transformer fans. Get ready for Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen.
Yep.
He was the voice of the bad car. Okay.
Yes.
So it's just so ludicrous to think of it, but it was actually one of the more exciting episodes whenever KITT versus K.a.r.r, you know?
Oh, yes. And I've got to say, KITT got smashed to all
destroyed. Man. And then wait a minute, Garth had his own evil vehicle too.
He had a truck. He had a huge truck that they were driving.
It wasn't called Leviathan. It was some kind of big name like Goliath, maybe.
Goliath.
So.
I'm sure it was Goliath.
Right. Yeah,
because there was Goliath and then Goliath Returns or something like that.
Yes,
where they are in the sort of sequel episode. There was like, I mean, there was also, I was just going to say, there was also part of the night team. There was Bonnie Barstow.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
she was there. She was like the technical support for KITT. She was there for one season, and then they left, and they brought in another actress to not replace her, but to play, you know, that the same sort of role.
But they brought her back though.
They brought her back for seasons 3 and 4, which was quite good. And then for the last season, they had this sort of support to Bonnie, RC3. So they had him in, who was sort of like, you know, tech support. And I always loved when they would drive, they'd have the mobile command where they'd drive the truck. It reminded me of the video game Spy Hunter, where the knight would drive into the truck and they
drive
would
up the ramp and then would fix them and they come back out. Yeah, I remember. What year was Spy Hunter? Maybe that was
83, I think. 83, 84.
Okay.
I'll put it down below.
Maybe they ripped it off from Knight Rider, or Knight Rider ripped it off from them. I don't know.
Well, you know, Glenn A. Larson was accused of, you know, using, let's say, borrowing stories and things like that from. There was an episode, a TV series that came out a year after the Rockford Files called Switch, which starred
Robert Wagner and Eddie Albert.
Yes, and
I used to watch that. Yeah,
and that was pretty much about an ex-con who came out and became a private investigator. Yeah. What does that sound like? Rockford Files much? And they actually, some episodes were pretty much word for word.
Well, that was a thing back in the 70s. I remember reading about that even as a kid. They would have writers take episodes like Wonder Woman would be retrofitted to be the Bionic Woman show. They would literally have the same scripts. Or you'd have a $6 Million Man episode and you'd rework it and you'd give it to Jamie Summers and it would be the Bionic Woman. It's like, no one's paying attention because there's no VCRs. There's nobody downloading or Netflix to realize it's the same show. You might just have an inkling. Like, I think I saw that on Starsky and Hutch. Now it's on Beretta. It's like, wait, wasn't that the same show?
Well, they did that on MacGyver a lot, where they would basically, maybe not TV shows, but they would take movies and sort of put that into an episode. And they would even use like, you know, the Italian Job with Michael Caine and all the little minis, you know, driving around, everything like that. They'd actually use that footage in the episode.
Oh, I believe it. Hey, here's one for you. Did you watch Knight Rider when it was on, when it came on in the 80s, or did you watch the syndicated version?
No, I watched it when it was, there was a TV show called QED with, oh my gosh, who was in that? The lead actor.
Sam Waterston?
Sam Waterston. It ran for one season, QED. We might have to do an episode on that. That was really good. That was all around that time, 82. I remember coming out that year. Cheers came out that year as well.
Yeah,
we were running to the end of a lot of, like, you know, Happy Days was almost ending. A lot of things. So this was really new and quite fresh. So I remember watching it at the time and thought, yeah, it's kind of fun. You know, the thing I liked most about it was, apart from the cool car, was they used a lot of model work. The Trans Am that had just come out. That's all they could get because it was so popular. But they used a lot of model work, you know, like miniatures and things like that when there were avalanches, you know, where the cars and explosions and things. I thought that was kind of cool.
I was going to say, KITT was one of the first 2 production models off the line because they wanted to sell the Trans Am car, you know, because they had gone with a new look to it. So they
Yes.
gave the very first cars that they manufactured to the TV show to help promote it, and everybody loved that car. They would go to dealers and say, "Can you get me the KITT car?" So much so that the producers were asked by the car company to stop mentioning what type of car it was. To say, don't say it's a Trans Am anymore, because people were asking, "Can I buy the KITT car? Can I buy the car with the red light?" And they're like, "No, we don't. It's not a real thing. It's a TV show." But
Yes.
it was driving them crazy. But it had to help sales of that car
Oh
because
my gosh, yes.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
can buy,
everybody
and
wanted
today you can buy no pun intended, kits
a
to
KITT.
make
Yeah.
it to make the dashboard look like it. You know what
Oh
I
yeah.
did? I did love I don't know why the accelerator had like little green lights on it. So when you'd press down the accelerator, it would light up. I hope he's not looking at his feet when he's driving to see
Oh, I don't
how
know.
oh, and have you seen I think it was just recently discussed, I remember reading an article about someone just noticed, because I think it was brought out on Blu-ray, Knight Rider, and obviously with high definition, you can see that when KITT was driving by himself, what they would do is they'd have a stunt driver
Underneath,
wearing a
like a stealth suit.
seat covered suit. So the seat, it looked like it was just the seat, but it was the
Yeah.
driver behind it, which is, you know, kind of
So
cool.
you can see that in the high def now?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you wouldn't notice it just you know,
On your old TV.
on a
No,
12-inch, you know, black and white or
well,
color
yeah, when
TV.
things were fuzzy back in the day. No, no. I was gonna say the other thing about the KITT car was not only did it have those epic battles against K.a.r.r and Goliath and all that too, but I swear there was an episode where it got amnesia, or it thought it was somebody else. I mean, I might be confusing K.a.r.r with KITT, but you know.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't
Didn't you
surprise
notice that
me.
they all had shows like that? Because remember Don Johnson on Miami Vice, he gets shot in the head and he suddenly becomes a bad guy. He thought he was like a drug dealer, and they had to go find the real Sonny Croc. It's like that was a common trope on a lot of shows where the hero would suddenly get knocked in the head, and Gilligan became evil Gilligan, or you know, they just thought they were a different character. So it even happened.
The Muppets Take Manhattan, where he gets where Kermit doesn't realize who he is.
And then they had that other one with the evil Kermit.
Oh, that's from the later one. That's
when he had the little mole on it. Yeah.
It's a trope that always happens. Usually with all successful TV shows, there are a line of toys.
Oh, yeah.
And there were some great toys with Knight Rider. They brought out, of course, the car. You know, it's very toyetic. So you could get, you know, model kits, and you could get, you know, die-cast metal cars and things like that. But Kenner made some really cool cars. They made the a giant stunt kit where he could drive through a semi-trailer. They had ripcord ones. They had KITT, the talking KITT car, which on eBay is worth quite a bit now, where you get a Michael Knight figure, and it would have phrases direct from the show, you know, a 3 3/4 inch size scale one,
cool.
Which are pretty good. And of course, now again, you know, like we were talking with the A-Team, how now, of course, you can get those higher end, you know, metal models.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you, when I do my shows, we have a bunch of cars. We'll have the Batmobile, we'll have the A-Team truck, we'll have the car from Supernatural. I've had a KITT replica, and man, folks line up for that car. They all want to sit inside of it. They all want to get a picture with the red light going. It's amazing. These literally, I know they're just cars and vehicles and inanimate objects, but they literally are just as popular as the real actors who are on the thing. And David Hasselhoff, speaking of popularity, he was a big deal, man, in the 80s, way before Baywatch. I mean, you can't go to Germany and mention the name David Hasselhoff without being attacked, because he was like the Elvis Presley. Because look, if memory serves me, when they knocked down the Berlin Wall, who was standing up on that wall and singing about freedom? But David Hasselhoff. And he had this jacket, leather jacket that lit up or something like that, and he was on like a scaffolding singing, "I want freedom," or "Can you find freedom?" I can't remember the exact title, but they love that guy. And I remember him saying he took home chunks of the wall. It must have been later on. It must have been during Baywatch when they took the wall down. I'm sorry, because he had given each member like a 1 inch by 1 inch square of the Berlin Wall, because he kept some of it. But Hasselhoff, the Hoff, was the man. He was a big deal.
I've got his Christmas album.
Oh, really?
And I've also got a cassette, which I bought as a joke. And he can sing. He's
Oh
quite a good
yeah,
singer, you know. But his songs are real. There's one there, 1 and 1 make 3, which
yeah,
is as cheesy as you would expect it to be. And there's
yeah.
some really cheesy dance. Like I think it must
Well,
be late 80s, early 90s.
I was gonna say
Um,
they all had them. We should do a show about that too, because I just found my Bruce Willis,
I've
The
got
Return
that
of
as well.
Bruno.
Someone gave it to me for my birthday last year.
Oh no, I
Bruno
found
was
mine in
the
the
record.
yeah, mine was in the garage. I was looking for some trading cards. We won't go there, but anyway, Don Johnson had an album. David Soul from Starsky and Hutch was a singer as
Yeah, he
well.
was even a
It's like
singer before that. Patrick Swayze, of course.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, it seems like everybody had two careers. They had a side hustle going on.
yeah,
It's like if this
yeah.
doesn't work out, I've got the record deal. But Hasselhoff was a legitimate rock and roll star. I mean,
Yeah.
he literally was selling out stadiums and stuff. It's not like, a one-hit wonder in a recording studio and he's at a mall
Yeah.
like Debbie Gibson or Tiffany. He was
Yeah.
a big deal. I mean, you literally he's a very good singer,
Yeah.
so don't undersell the guy. But all good things come to an end.
Yeah.
And Knight Rider sadly only lasted 4 years, and then it pulled the plug on the show. I don't know if it was low ratings or just like the A-Team. I think people kind of got tired of the formula because
Yeah.
it was pretty similar week after week. I mean, there's
Yeah.
only so much you could do after 90 episodes with the
That's
talking
right.
car.
That's right. Unless, they made him into I don't know what they could have done really. I think it just
Yeah.
ran its course, and it was still
It
super
was out of
popular.
gas. It ran out of gas.
That's right. But it did come. Thank you very much. You're here all week. Try the veal.
Try the veal.
That's right. But it did come back as a telemovie. They had Knight Rider 2000.
Oh yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. They had a couple of reboot series. There was Knight Rider,
Knight Rider 2010 or something,
and Team Knight Rider as well.
That lasted a couple shows, not maybe 6 or 8 episodes. Team Knight Rider. It was like a syndicated thing. One of them was odd. It was almost like a Mad Max type of show. I remember watching. That might have been the Knight Rider 2010. It was just like a very fancy, souped up Knight Rider in the future. I was like, I don't know.
I think that's the only connection it really had, was that they had a talking car. Val Kilmer voiced they did. Val Kilmer voiced Knight Rider in one of the series as well. KITT.
Yeah. And they made him a red car. And when it was brought back, Michael Knight was in the beginning of it, but then KITT turned into a big red, again, maybe a Pontiac Trans. If it's all red, it's not the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, no, the black car had a coolness to it that you just can't get. But you're right. Val Kilmer was in one. And then, if memory serves me, I think they just acquired the rights in 2016 to do a feature movie about Knight Rider. I don't know where it is right now. It's been 4 or 5 years, but there was talk. Even like Hasselhoff a couple weeks ago, he had a huge auction and he was selling a lot of his memorabilia. He has the KITT car, the toy. He even had a small kids version of KITT you could drive in if you're like 3 or 4 years old and you're small. But he's selling it all off now. He's got all the stuff. But he said there are people that are such huge fans. He met a guy who was 8 years old that came on the set and he gave him an autograph. That guy grew up to write the screenplay, and he's the one behind the new relaunch movie. So maybe it'll happen, man.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good sign when someone who's really passionate about the property goes on to write about it, because I know there have been a lot of the Baywatch movie flopped. Starsky and Hutch was not. It wasn't
bad, but it was a goofy movie. Yeah.
It wasn't in the same vein as this series, which is, I felt didn't do it.
I thought it was more realistic and serious. I don't know why they went for that. Ben Stiller. Was it Owen Wilson? They went for a comedy.
Yeah, with I think it was Snoop Dogg as Huggy Bear.
As Huggy Bear, yeah. I mean, it was okay.
We'll have to do a. We'll have to do a.
Oh, absolutely! I love Starsky and Hutch. I met those guys a couple years ago already, and they're fantastic.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of merchandise or things like that.
No, there was a comic strip, French comic strip, not a comic book. But he also, wait a minute, we forgot to mention, he was popping up on shows all there. He was on Different Strokes.
He was on Different Strokes as Michael Knight with KITT. He saved Arnold.
That's right. He saved Gary Coleman. He did a lot of commercials. There was a Walmart commercial recently where I saw KITT. and a GE, General Electric. They had a car commercial with Michael Knight and
Yeah,
KITT.
he's appeared
He
in
pops up.
I think is it maybe one of the Lego video games. So yeah, he's still
It's around there. Yeah, it never really went away.
yeah.
But, and I know you can buy like the replica cars again.
Mm.
Like you just mentioned it, when you go get Hot Wheel cars, I'll see they'll have like the A-Team van and all that stuff and Starsky and Hutch, and you'll see now and then a KITT car. So it's still out there. It's still popular.
Yeah.
So, well, who knows? Who knows?
So I'd reckon it's a good watch. If you haven't ever watched it, you know, go on. It's got a great theme by Stu Phillips, who did the theme
Oh, great. Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica. We were remiss in saying that, you know, Glenn A. Larson also created didn't create
Buck Rogers, 25th Centuries. Yeah.
You know, so he was involved with that. He did Quincy ME. There's a he has a great,
like I said before when we talked about the A-Team, there was like 4 guys: Stephen Cannell, Donald Belisario,
yep.
Glenn A. Larson, and maybe Aaron Spelling, and there was maybe one other fellow. That was it. They own television. It's like you either watch one of their shows or you didn't watch anything, because they were the guys churning these shows out week after week after week. Kenneth Johnson was another one I was thinking of. He's the one that did the Incredible Hulk and all that stuff too. But no, it was a great time. As much as we enjoy having all these science fiction and superhero shows on now, this is what we had in the 80s, and it was you know, kind of corny, but it was kind of cool at the same time. It was no Street Hawk, which was another show that we didn't talk about, which was about a talking motorcycle.
But that's not
Rex
really
Smith.
I think that's with Rex Smith, who was again a singer.
And he was Daredevil in The Incredible Hulk meets Daredevil.
That's right.
And he was in Brigadoon, or no, The Pirates of Penzance.
Pirates is with Linda Ronstadt and Kevin Kline in the movie.
Correct.
And he had a hit in the late 70s, a top 20 maybe a disco hit as well. So
there you go. So I always thought Street Hawk and Knight Rider should have teamed up.
That would have been cool.
Car and motorcycle, maybe throw in Blue Thunder or Airwolf.
Yeah.
And just go to town. Just have all out vehicles. Or they fight the Transformers. That would be a show. Get the popcorn out, kids. Or
are you listening, Hollywood?
I know. And the reason why I got this on, Maximum Overdrive, the Green Goblin, the bad truck, right there. KITT versus
we just need Jewel. We need Dennis Weaver to, you know, come along, and we'll have everything.
Dennis Weaver. Oh, I think he's long dead, but I get you what you're talking about.
Yeah, so. I know. He didn't drive the truck either. He was being
it was the movie The Car.
Yes,
with James Brolin, which was about a demonic car. Not Christine.
No,
that's another movie. The Car's about a car.
Or Peter Weir's The Cars That Ate Paris.
What?
Have you heard of that one?
No, that's not real.
There's I remember a Volkswagen with big spikes on it.
You know what I'm thinking of? Killdozer. Did you ever see that?
I don't think I did.
It was an ABC movie of the week.
About someone murdering Fraggles? Is that?
No, it was about a giant bulldozer that came to life and killed construction guys, called Killdozer.
Wow.
Hello. It's a famous story. I even have the Marvel comic book of it. You never heard of Killdozer?
Based on a true story?
Yes. Yes. It was a magical time. Magical time.
The early 80s, fantastic. So that's our look. That's it. That's pretty much it. Our look back at Knight Rider. Go watch it. It's good fun. One thing I will say about a lot of those shows in the 70s and 80s, you know, you don't have to commit to, you know, once you watch one, you have to watch all of them to get the story arc. You know, they were episodic television. You know, you watch one. Sometimes they had a 2-parter, but you know, you can just jump in. Look for it, look for that episode with Garth from the latest season. Look for the ones with, you know, K.a.r.r versus KITT. Watch the the pilot. There's lots of great episodes there. You got about 92, I think.
Yeah, 90. So no, you're right. That's how TV. Honestly, I think that's how TV should be. Not this like you have to binge watch 6 seasons to understand the whole story or anything. It's fun just to tune in and tune out and watch a freaking show for 2 hours and that's it. It was fun and we're out. It's junk food for the eyes.
Like this show. And you don't have to watch them all in order. You can jump back. Want to find out about Harrison Ford? Why don't you watch that episode? What about Empire Strikes Back or Happy Days or Battlestar Galactica?
Battlestar Galactica?
Yep, we talk about that. I'm sure we've got coming up incoming episodes. King Kong. We definitely have to talk about Starsky and Hutch because I've been and Kelly have been binge watching.
Oh,
the seasons of that. There's lots of great things out there. But again, if you think, oh, we'd love to hear what you think about this. Write it down in the comments below. We'd love to hear.
Yeah. I can't wait to do the 80th anniversary of Captain America.
Oh,
I think I know a little bit about that guy.
really?
Yeah, it's this year.
Is he the same as Captain Britain? Is that the same guy?
No, he's the same as Admiral Australia.
Admiral Australia.
Yeah,
Boy,
we'll talk
I must
about
have missed that. He obviously didn't do very well. But anyway,
he fights Nazi kangaroos. You didn't know?
No, I know. I just know that he was attacked by a lot of drop bears. That's all I know. So, anyways, all right. This has been Ed Dollister.
And this is Mitch Halleck.
And you've been watching Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.